My harness of choice is the Pi coding agent by Mario Zechner. If you're not familiar, the Pi coding agent is the core behind Openclaw. Think of it like Claude Code without restrictions. If Claude Code is VS Code, then the Pi coding agent is Neovim. Use it with almost any model you want, and with TypeScript, you can make it look however you want, and you can make it do whatever you want. I'm not going to tell you how to install it. For more on that, check out their website at pi.dev. This video is about how I use it. Now, I normally jump between Windows, Mac, and Linux on a daily basis, so there are a few things I need in order to stay productive on all three platforms. I don't want to have to rebuild my Pi configs on every system I use. Thankfully, Pi allows you to specify where you want to store your configs. For me, that's a folder on my OneDrive that's synced between all my platforms. It could just as easily be a Dropbox or iCloud or your cloud storage of choice. It could even be a folder containing a Git repo, which I also do, because I'm constantly adding, removing, and changing TypeScript files, and I like being able to roll things back. Besides that, I need a terminal to work from. On Mac and Linux, those are already taken care of. On Windows, I use WSL with Ubuntu in order to avoid needing to customize anything too much for Windows. I'll also need Node.js because that's how you install the Pi coding agent and its plugins. And finally, I'll need tmux installed just so I can have some flexibility with the terminal windows. Okay, so in this example here, we're just going to start in an empty folder. I'm going to create a new folder and call it website. Then I'm going to right-click on the folder and open it in the terminal. Now, since I'm on Windows, I want to get into WSL so that I don't have to make any changes. And now that I'm in WSL, I want to get into tmux. And now that I'm in tmux, I want to get into Pi. Now, if you have Pi installed, yours is not going to look like this because I've made some customizations. When I was learning about Pi, I watched Indie Dev Dan's video series on it, right here about Pi agents. He has a GitHub repo based on that video, and in there he has different extensions that he's made, and I've taken his agent-team extension and I've made some modifications to it. So basically what that extension lets you do is create a bunch of sub-agents and assign them to teams, and then you use those specific teams to complete a specific task. So as you can see, my sub-agents here, I have a scout that can read folders and files. I have a browser which can search the internet. I have a documenter which creates README files. I have a reviewer that makes sure things are accurately done. I have a negotiator which makes sure we're making the right decisions. And I have an agent builder which lets me build more custom agents. So for this example, we're just going to create a README file and have it be based on a specific subject. Because I told it to create a file, it's dispatching the documenter subagent. And on the bottom of the screen, you can see everything that the documenter is doing. Okay, so as you can see, it's done now. And it didn't even have to search the internet. It already knew what Firefly was, and it created the markdown file for us. So this team of subagents is not very good at building websites, so I'm going to switch to one specifically made for websites. As you can see, this team is a little different. It has a scout so that it can read files. It has a conventions analyst, which if there's existing code already, it'll evaluate that code and decide how it should write its new code. It has a planner to create a plan on how to make a website. It has Greenfield Web, which is basically going to tell it to create websites the way I like to create websites. It has a UI designer to help it make good layout decisions. It finally has a builder to create everything, a reviewer to make sure we're staying on task, and even a WCAG auditor to make sure our website is accessible. So now I'll just tell it to use that file to create a website. So the first thing it'll do is send the scout out to read the file. Now that that's done, it'll call up the UI designer to come up with a look for it. Once the design is done, it'll kick off the Greenfield Web Subagent, which would basically bootstrap a website the way I would do it. With the base website complete, it's going to kick off the conventions analyst to see how it should code the rest of the site. Now that it's done observing how I coded everything, it's going to dispatch the builder, which will actually go through and build the website. After the reviewer agent did a quick check of how things are supposed to be, it kicked it back to the builder to fix those errors. Now that the builder's done, we'll kick it off to the WCAG auditor to perform an accessibility check. As expected, the accessibility auditor found some issues, and the builder went and fixed them. So there it is. Everything is complete. Now we can just go ahead and test it by typing in a bash command right in here. That'll open it up in Visual Studio Code. Let's go ahead and install all the packages it needs. And finally run it. As you can see, it gave us a beautiful website using fancy fonts. It tells us information about the series, talks about the genre, talks about all the characters, talks about some of the best episodes, even a timeline of events. And there you go. And as you can see that the whole process just took 2 prompts. The one prompt asking it to make a markdown file, and the second prompt asking it to make the website. It went through and it took care of everything it needed to figure out which agent it needed to do what, and it even went back and checked its work and made changes as needed. So that's how I use the Pi coding agent.